Shake everybody's hand. My name is Chuck D.
D stand for.
We'll get to that. How you doing? All right. How's everything? All right. Peace. What's up, man? What's up? What's up? Hello. How you? All right. How you doing? Hello. What's up? All right. How you doing? What's up, man? What's up? How you doing, man? All right. What's up? Like some jackets. I represent.
Everyone's supposed to wear them.
I know, it was the whole thing. Everyone's supposed to wear it.
Someone told me to wear it.
I didn't wear the jacket.
I was gonna wear it. I was like, everyone's gonna wear it. That's what I brought it. Okay.
I didn't wear.
Everybody got those jackets?
Yeah, but we just forgot them at
No.
Well, I was just, spreading some props, but I mean, does every student in the school have those jackets? Oh, y'all the elite, huh?
Yeah.
A special, huh? Got your name on the jackets too?
Yeah.
Oh, and it's like what, campus news, right?
Yeah. Newscast.
Oh, and you cover what, everything on? That's one thing I noticed when I came here. I noticed that, it was like sort of like a campus setup. I mean, most of the high schools and the school systems in California have that setup. And I've been speaking to high schools out here for about a good 10 years. So I'm finally, I'm honored to come speak in front of y'all. So what's up? What's up? All right. Now I usually start off this whole segment, right, by saying what it's about. For Fox News Channel, I'm covering, the situation, the mindsets of young people, and also the conditions of high schools across America. I just came up out of Chicago, and everybody over at Whitney Young out there in Chicago says, what's up? They say, so they give you all a mad shout out. So wherever I head to next, which I think is Texas, y'all probably gonna do the same. It's up to y'all, depending on if you like this or not. My producing crew, where's my producer? Oh, Gary, yeah, they hiding. Now, and Walter, we do this natural. Now, they're from the old school, you gotta understand, so everything behind the scenes, is everything tight like that? No, we don't do anything corny or phony. We just like, whatever it is, whatever it is. So once in a while, my crew says, how many of y'all are media students? All of you, right? All right. All right, well, we're going to be the exception to the rule. If they holding up a sign, I'm going to say, oh, he's holding up a sign. And he says, slow down or speed up. And, it's not really going to be anything hidden behind the scenes or whatever. But I'm pretty sure y'all being media students, I'm going to ask questions, right? And y'all roll off the top of your head. Freestyle if you may. Exactly, what do you think, your opinions? Don't be shy. You might want to say your name first. How many seniors we have here?
Wrong.
Were you between a junior and a senior? Juniors? Sophomores? Any freshmen here?
No.
Right.
So you're going to be the leader of the pack. You're class of 2001? Oh, class of 2000. Oh, you got props, huh? Class of 1999?
Yeah.
Brother 98?
98.
Well, just speaking on that point, I mean, seniors, are you worried? How many seniors are actually kind of scared and worried about the future? All right. What are some of the reasons that you're scared?
My name is Blaise Delacroix, and I'm a senior, and I'm scared getting into college, hoping I'm gonna make enough money later, hoping I'm gonna be happy with my life, hoping that I'm gonna, meet someone that I'll be happy with later on in life, like all that stuff. We're at that turning point where it's like you're stepping out of high school and into the world. Like your mom's not gonna be there to wake you up in the morning and be like, go to school. It just doesn't happen anymore. We have to live it for ourselves, and I'm scared of that,
Because right around the corner, it's like work, school, pay for school. Anybody else?
Oh, well, I'm scared right now because I'm trying to lay out my plan to make the right decision because I don't have time in my career to be backtracking. So I'm trying to lay out the plans. Even though I got like a couple of months ahead, I'm still trying to make out the plans. So I don't have to backtrack and take those classes, that I'm really trying to figure out what I want to do. In a way I know, but I don't want to take the wrong class and I have to backtrack, and the money.
There's so many things you got thinking about right now. People asking, well, what are you going to do? Well, what do you like? Are you sure you're going to the right school for that? And right now you're like, well, I'm not sure what I want to do for the rest of my life, you know? And maybe you just want to try a bunch of different things and you're scared that in the long run it's going to hold you back.
The year 2000, what does it mean to you? How many people are scared of that number, except for the class of 2000? What does it mean to you? Feel free.
Fear.
Millennium. New
Change.
beginning.
A new beginning or a new ending?
It's an ending to an era, but also a new beginning. It's like a fresh start for people. And also not just people like technology-wise and economy-wise. I think it's a new beginning. And environmentally also.
Do you think a lot of people are ready for the year 2000?
No.
You think a lot of
I think like I would say that it's the end of the
Ready for
beginning.
that year. No one is really.
I think it's over-exaggerated.
It's only 2 years away.
I think it's over-exaggerated. I mean, there's a lot of things going on now, but I mean, people are like, oh, soon, I mean, you know, they're talking about the computers, all the computers going to stop. And
Do you believe that? How many people
I think
believe
it's
that?
exaggerated. I do.
So if it does happen, then what are we prepared to do?
I mean, we can take the precautions.
Well, I don't
We can
know.
take the precautions, but the way, oh, everyone's gonna die. I mean, all these movies you see, you know, like Strange Days, all them people like, you know, I mean, it's over-exaggerated. I think it's something to be concerned about, but not to the point where it's over-exaggerated.
Yeah, you don't have to be paranoid about it. There's some concerns there, but being paranoid is not one of you.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be like, oh my God, I'm gonna die.
Take
no,
it with
it's not.
stride.
I think before, when it was farther away, people were like, oh my God, the year 2000 is far away. The world's gonna end. Now it's like 2 years away. People aren't concerned. They're concerned about their life right now. They're living what they're living.
What are some of y'all's post-high school goals? Goals. College for everybody, right?
Film school.
Film school, which is a college of sorts, right? Anybody just want to go right into work? What do you think the mentality is? Because y'all represent the whole high school. What do you think the mentality is for everybody in the school, not just the exceptional few like yourself?
Well, most people want to make something out of their lives. They don't want to be let's say 10 years from now, high school reunion, they don't want to be the ones left out, the dropouts, the flunkies. They want to do something with their life. Now it's more like, well, let's see who does the best. And it's pretty much competition nowadays, everything, competition.
Competition for a price?
Competition for pretty much everything, position,
Mm.
power, love, everything.
So many of you seniors are going into college next year. Oh, I know you're just starting out, so enjoy your senior year. Have a lot of fun, get your grades and everything. But you're going to start out as freshmen. Are you thinking about that? Starting out as freshmen as your college selection at the bottom? Because right now you're at the top. Enjoy this year at the top, y'all.
It's like junior high was. You
Yeah.
were, you know, junior high, you were a big thing over there. You come in high school.
Now you're back
you're
down
small
again. It's a little
fish in a big
scary, right? At the top, everything's going for you. You have all your friends, and then when it's over, everybody's going their own way, and then you're going to a new level and starting all over again from the bottom.
It's a new chapter in your life. You're beginning a new, it's like a new millennium. You're beginning something new, but yet you're ending something that you love. In my opinion, I love high school. I love the life. But I'm also ready to move on with my life. I'm also ready to go to college, to experience new things.
Do you see a lot of opportunities out here in California? Because I asked a lot of the young people in Chicago and also in D.C., what do you think about the opportunities in their area? Everybody said they want to get out as soon as they can. Now, everybody wanted to come to California. And the same D.C., California, or down south. What do y'all say about that?
It's New York. It's the coast thing. That's it. You want to get
I think
away.
you don't have to say like California. I think it's just like LA mostly because it's hard in here. So like let's say if you go to Sacramento, it's probably a little bit easier life.
Depends on what career you're looking for. If you're looking for a career in the media, then LA is one of the biggest places as far as in New York. It's not like some little Hickville city in the middle of Iowa.
Mhm.
LA is the place to be, and if that's where you want to get started, then this is where I'm staying.
So you're going to go to college here.
Definitely.
I think it's like between the coasts, like East Coast and West Coast, like New York. New York is more entertainment. So if you're looking for a career in the entertainment, the music business, something like that. Well, it's here also, but it's more like in New York and something like that. And I think after my career is settled, then I'm going to move over to the East Coast and finish my career, pursue something, because I would like to experience something different. I've been here for 18 years. I want to go somewhere else.
That's what most students want to do. They want to leave and go somewhere and live their own life.
Everyone wants to leave, and the thing is, everyone else hears all this stuff. Oh, Los Angeles, Hollywood, it's so great there. You know, streets are paved with gold. Let's go there.
grass is always
You
greener
know,
on the other side.
exactly. But if you've been here forever, you're like, I want to get out. I want to go to college. I want to like do different things. You know, it's just depends where you start.
How many of y'all would like to experience wintertime?
Well, I would love that.
No.
5 degrees in January having to walk to school like they do in Chicago.
No, I want to try it. I want to wear bubble jackets. Wear bubble jackets out here. You know, I want to ride the subway. I just want to. I mean, there's the same thing like the subway, New York streets and stuff.
Like to experience it for a while, like you go to college and maybe like go out of state and see what it's like to live somewhere else other than where you've grown up. But definitely, no matter what field you want to get into, I mean, whether it be media or fashion or business or anything, I mean, there's so much offered here in LA that like you don't realize when you're here all the time. Sometimes you take it for granted.
All right, generations' point of view as far as being American. The older generation's point of view, your generation, do you think are two different things? Who wants to answer this?
I'm not really an American, so to speak. I'm from the Caribbean, so the mentality here is like to achieve. It's like more intensive over there because it's so small. There are less, less opportunities. Over here, you could rock back a little more, and that's what like the young generation is doing now. They're like rocking back a little more, and not really intensifying on their future so much.
You think it's more of a melting pot for the younger generation today than with the older generation, like splitting up things in race? And do you think the younger people are together more now than ever?
Yeah.
Go ahead, ask anybody in this.
Look at this class.
We never look at each other and think, oh, you're different nationality. It's not even like a question.
And the older point of view thinks totally different. Like, for example, when you fill out an application and you fill out what you are, does it really matter?
Sometimes I
It's what inside that counts. It's what the person is, the character, not the skin color. That's what's supposed to matter.
If you had to tell the president anything, what would you tell the president as far as race is concerned?
Don't worry about it, because nowadays everyone's so mixed up. They're not going to be, oh, well, I can't date that guy because he is not my race. I mean, maybe my parents would, oh, well, he's not Mexican, but it's like, I don't mind. I'm comfortable with other races, so I think that's the main difference. We feel comfortable around other people that are not our color, not our race, yet it's like we just mingle, it fits. And back then it didn't.
Now, as far as we know that the generation of young heads is coming together automatically on their own. Now, what do you think about the school curriculums? Do the school curriculums encourage that? Do they have curriculums that actually teach everybody about their own backgrounds, or is it just stuck back in the old days?
It's still stuck to the traditional American white history. They don't teach. They don't go. They touch, like, let's say Mexican heritage and other heritages, but they only touch it, and they only show, in my opinion, one side of the story, and the side that they win. Side that it seems that glorifies America, though there might be other truths behind it, but it just seems that they only say one side of the story.
Like slightly dab on it, but they don't go intensify into it as they do in U.S. history or U.S. government. All you used to see is George Washington, other people, but you don't see actually who helped him, on that cross the. You don't see everyone else who were the sidearms because they don't get recognition. Unlike who we all know. I mean, when you think of America, you think of apple pie and George Washington. You don't see the other stuff, the sidearms of everything.
But do you think that rolls with the whole thing of being competitive and that this is number one and everybody else don't count? Do you think that's...
Ethnocentric mentality where America is better than all the other countries, but then again sometimes we think and we go over there and we're so used to being here that we do think it is better than the other countries because we're not used to living over there. It's like when you move to another state, like when we go and we visit the East Coast, we're like, God, we can't wait to get home because it's just different.
Now,
so much better here than in other places. I mean, I don't know how much other people have traveled, but if you go to some other third world countries and you see what it's like, it just changes your entire perspective on where you live and what you do.
How about young people? You think young people in other countries you know, are just as equipped or smarter or want to learn about as much about other, are they better equipped on learning about other nationalities than American youth?
Yeah. So yeah, because it's like you learn about the rest of the world because yours is like so small. So you have to learn about other countries, you know, and it's different. You know, it's different. Coming from another country, it's different. You learn a lot more about other people, other countries, other religions, and it's so much more, you know, what's the word? Diverse, yeah.
Okay.
That's the thing today. I mean, you have to really go out. I mean, that's what makes most of us a better person if we're not stick to one thing. If we're, you know, listen eclectic in music, you know, listen to a lot of different things because that makes us a better person to be around. And you have a knowledge of things. You know, I can go talk to someone about Julio Iglesias, you know, because I'm not going to stick to R&B. So
Right.
it really people should strive to understand and, you know, relate to other things, you know.
Well, how about this? What do you think about? I'm going to come right even back to that point. But as far as teachers, do you think teachers could have an easy job today or a hard job today, or are they just stuck into the old way, which making their job hard?
It depends on the teacher. If it's a teacher who's been teaching for 30 years and they know if they know how to deal with different kind of students and they've seen so many changes, then they obviously have a better outlook on how to teach the students. But if they're in their first year of teaching and they're fairly young, you know, it's a lot different. They don't know how, they can't control the students. They can't really have a...
Well, I asked you this question though.
It's not even.
The more knowledge you have. I mean, the more experience you have, the more ability you have to really control the situation. Like, let's say if there was something to go in the classroom, if the teacher is experienced, knows what he's doing or she's doing, then they're going to have a handle on that class. But if it's a new teacher, they don't know, you know, how to handle it.
It's not that simple.
But your question was different. It was more like how they treat us individually, like racially and stuff like that,
I think
right?
they worry a lot about what's politically correct in the back of their mind, if they should be saying such things, or if, you know, if it'll offend anybody in the class, because maybe, you know, there's some races in here that are minorities in this area but aren't really considered minorities in others, and, you know, they might be, they feel if they should be saying such language that might maybe offend one country or one person or another, and it's just in the back of their mind, they're wondering what's politically correct to say or what not to say, and that just an added stress to all these other things about being new and having less experience and so forth.
Well, here's a question, right? I asked other high schools about a teacher that really does have experience, right? Do you feel that teachers should be tested on the mindset of the students every year? And question number two, do you think a teacher can teach whatever subject they have if they can't relate to the student?
It changes now because some teachers can relate to students. Now, like, I know 2 different math teachers last year who, because they just moved into the Los Angeles school system, there's so many Hispanics here, that they're all taking courses in Spanish. There's a 1969 class that teachers are required to take to learn more about that culture. And then it's not even Hispanic. There's like other Asian students in some of my classes that are hardly speaking English that some teachers can't relate to. And then again, it's not even like just other races, because there's just white kids who will be in the classroom not doing anything, you know? Just because you don't speak the language, people still just have, you know, a hard time dealing with each other now. It's not as simple as just knowing the curriculum. It's being able just to talk to any student. And it's hard, especially here in Los Angeles.
Do you think teachers need to get paid better?
Also knowing the social culture of like different like ethnic groups, you know, what they do in their spare time, so a teacher can relate to, you know, what they do outside as well as inside school. That's all a part of it too.
Students sometimes make it difficult for teachers also because, you know, when you got a substitute, you're like, oh, teacher's gone, substitute, forget them. They ain't even in the class. Take advantage, you know? Take advantage. I mean, it's true. I've done that before, and I feel bad, but...
Opportunity, right?
Right, forget the teacher. But it's not only about the teachers learning to control their class, it's about the students willing to participate and, you know, listen to the teacher.
Because if there's no communication between students and teachers, then the learning process is going to be lost.
So anybody here want to be teachers? Everybody's like, no. Anybody here want to be a substitute teacher?
Look me to die first.
They're thinking that they want to teach, but they don't have the opportunity or the time to teach. In any ways, the substitute teacher does reach a certain percentage of the students. It's not, I've seen substitute teachers that have been teaching here for like years and years and years. And you get to know them personally just because they sub one class and sub another class. You get to know them. It's not as bad as think, oh, substitute teachers very okay. No, they know what they're doing. They know what they're getting into. They know how hard it is. I think it's much harder to be a substitute than to be a teacher. Because you see, you have one class for one period and then you have to go to nothing. I respect them more because they have to put up with us giving them a hard time.
Yeah, I tell you, here's a story I got.
Education is just being a teacher. And you do it for reasons other than getting a paycheck. You do it for reasons because you want to learn and reach those children and teach them something, not just getting a paycheck.
Well, they say their paychecks ain't enough.
I mean, yeah, but no.
You know, you see ball players get 120 million for playing three years, and teachers are like, got a Pinto and like, can't.
There's just a lot of compassion into teaching. You have to really, for my opinion, I think a really good teacher is a teacher that puts his all into teaching, not just teaching what is the curriculum, but being an individual. Not, there's like a few teachers here who I know who, if you look at them, you wouldn't think they're the usual teacher. But those are the best teachers because they don't teach you exactly every day what's on the books. They teach you, they give you a life experience.
A good teacher does not teach for the money. A good teacher teaches for the education and the student, and they know that we're the generation that will be taking control of this country in maybe 20 years.
How many older students, former students, come back and give y'all pep talks?
Especially from this class, because it's the media center, it's the campus news class. People feel real in touch with it, and they were happy here, and a lot of people have gotten jobs at like ABC and other things, the internships because of this class. They're real thankful that it's getting a step into their future. So they come back and they're like, you guys got to stay here, do work, try to get an internship, try to get a job, try to make something a little bit easier.
This is always the quiet section. No matter what school I go to, it's just that maybe it's the blind side.
I think we're
loud mouth.
Oh, okay. No, that's all right. Then feel free to, jump in. You're all media. Don't be shy, even though we have, back behind the scenes people training to be. All right, speaking on media, right? The influence on today's youth in television, videos, and radio. How much?
It's way too much. I think students are getting sucked into television, and sometimes they like all of a sudden they think that is how life is, and they try to be like that. Like, let's say 90210, I have a lot of friends that love that show, and they're like, oh my God, this happens to him, I'm gonna die, or it's really blown out of proportion, and they have to keep it on a down low, or else they're going to be sucked into that type of life, and they're going to want to base their whole life on like characters that are not really real.
A lot of people say, well, I don't know, videos don't influence me because I'm still going to make up my mind. What do you say about?
People watch a music video and they're like, oh, look what he's wearing. I got to try to wear that, or I got to be like that. Or what did he just say? I got to talk like that. People, they want to be like who's popular.
When there's conflicts and such as, the East Coast, West Coast kind of thing, people like really take it to the heart, Especially people from here, from California, they're like all West Coast. And you might listen to the little Wu-Tang, the Chuck D from the East, right. And then people come up to you and they start, hitting you up, Tupac, and it really, that kind of stuff is like real negative.
It's not only that, it's sort of a conditioning type thing. If you see something often enough on television, or if you hear something often enough, it's like you tend to go and believe that.
Right.
You tend to believe that, and you believe that that's the way it should be, or if your life doesn't live up to what you're seeing on TV, you feel that that's the way that you need to be like that, and so you try to go and be like the people that you see on TV. You see all these rich and famous people. Oh, I can do that. I can be that. But yet, instead of taking the initiative and trying to be like that, to work hard to be like those people up there, instead you just wish for it to happen, and that in turn just in a way lowers your self-esteem, or it just you're envious, and it turns to a negative side, where you just sit down and sulk.
I think that's only to a certain extent, because I have a strong personality, and And when I watch TV, I don't say, oh, I want my life to be like that. I want my life to be the way I want it to be, not because of the way I see it on TV. And I just want to know, okay, you know, it's entertaining, thanks, you know, that was great, but
That's the thing about
that's
the
not my
media.
life, and that's not the way I want my life to be, you know. It influences you, I guess, but you have to step back and kind of think, you know, is that what I want? You know?
But that's the thing about the media. The media can pretty much make the audience think what it wants it to think. It can project images, sounds, and you can pretty much put your thoughts into other people's minds.
So what you're saying is brainwashing?
Not brainwashing to that extent, but you can give the ideas.
Half brainwashing.
Yeah, there you
It's
go.
a brain scrubbing, you know, just scrubbing.
Oh, is this a scrubber?
To the extent of like how people let themselves be influenced. Like Chantel said, she has a strong personality. I think you know I have a pretty strong personality. I watch TV. I love TV, but you know if I see a haircut that I like, I'm not gonna go, oh well, you know, since I want to be like that, I'm gonna go get that haircut. It depends on you know what you really want with your life. If you know what you want with your life, you're not gonna let it influence you that much.
Okay, here question number 2. Do you feel that young people are being represented in as many positive images on television, music, movies as they should be? And do you know, I mean, and do you wonder who's behind that?
No, I think that children are seen by adults as children. They're underestimated because of their age.
Are they scared of children?
Yeah,
Yes.
in a way, because we're the future, and they're sort of, parents or adults want to remain on top, and they want to, in a way, they're kind of scared of the future because that's what we are, and they underestimate our age, and they feel, oh, you're just children, you know, you don't know how this is, you don't see this and that. See, children are the people who everything's going around them, and they see what's going on around them, they see what their parents are going through, and they see everything else that's going around them, so they shouldn't be underestimated.
I think adults are starting to change their ways now because, for like, what's going on right now. And you came here to talk to us, and you want to know what we're thinking, and you know we're grateful for that. And I think, it has to start somewhere, you know. It has to start somewhere. You start it off, and then you know, hopefully people will follow, you know, and they'll listen to us because you know we do have a mind of our own, and we do have thoughts of our own, and you know we want to be heard like everybody else.
Ideas for the 21st century, right?
And who knows, maybe we do have good thoughts that, you know, that might save the world for
think
you know?
adults. They do, you know, because you know we come to school and there's like racism everywhere, and they just don't realize that. They're still living in the past, thinking that you know we should all get along, but we know that. They don't realize that.
Role models, do you...
Mind is able to comprehend more than has been given credit to. They think, oh, you're a child, you're innocent, you're young, you don't need to know that. But no, they understand more. They're more able to, not just physically, but mentally comprehend what's going around in their world. Child, you don't have to say, oh, you're a child, you don't need to know. No. When you start teaching when a person is young, when they grow up, they understand more of the world around them because they've been taught from a younger age.
Role models on you think you can find role models on TV, videos, or radio, or do role models reality in front of your face? You tell me.
Yeah, in order to be more of an influence and to be taken more seriously, you need someone who's closer to you. And I think role models are very important in a young person's life, positive role models, because they're the ones who help mentor the child to go from one way to the other, either take the narrow road or the wide road. And they would help, you know, back up the student. They help them to push to the way that they need to be. They're there to help them in a way, and if they look at somebody as a positive role model, and they admire them, and they try to, you know, just to make sound decisions based on their role model.
This young lady and young gentleman over here, you want to pick up on that? I don't mean to put y'all on the spot.
Denise, you got a lot to say.
Come on, Denise, come on, represent.
I don't know, I guess, I mean, exactly what she was saying. You can't be trying to look up to somebody who's doing drugs, and because I mean, if he's doing drugs and I'm gonna look up to him, he's gonna give me an example of what I should be. And then if you have a low self-esteem, you're gonna think, well, I mean, nobody likes me. Maybe I'll do drugs so I could be cool like him, you know. And it's not like that. If you're gonna think of being cool, you're never gonna get nowhere. It's in your intelligence. You know? If you're smart enough to do the right things, you're gonna go farther than anybody else.
it's better to have more role models instead of just one person. That way you get an eclectic understanding, overview of what life is. If you have 3 or 4 role models, you understand what not just what one person is going through, but what all the people are going through. And then that way you see through them, through their life, and that helps you make your own decisions.
Peer pressure.
I think the biggest role models are ourselves. We may have like role models and stuff, but my biggest role model is myself, because it's going to be me who's going to be there for me in the future. Even though I have a mom and dad and I have all these other people around me who influence me, it's going to be up to me to do what I need to do. No one's going to be like pushing me, okay, you need to do this, you do that. My biggest role model right now is myself, because it's going to be up to me to choose and do what I need to do.
Somebody else might say that just, out on the street, they might be in 10th grade, they could be failing on the way to dropping out, and they might say their best role model is themselves. What do you say to that person?
You have to say,
look inside.
I mean, you need to find out, you need to know what's going on in yourself. You can't, depend on everyone else. Okay, we all grew up, okay, we need a role model. We don't actually need a role model. We see everything, but it should be up to us to do the right thing and not let anyone else influence on what we should do.
All right, here's a question to build on that point. All right, you said that a lot of adults are afraid of young people today, right? How do y'all feel about the 6th and 7th graders? Do you feel that they off the hook on some other, they like, yo, I can't understand, they ill?
It's not even like that, but I remember, how every age is relative to where you are. You always feel the same. I remember when I was in 6th grade, I used to look up to 8th graders, and I would think now I'm in the 12th grade, I look at them, and I'm running into them. I'm kind of short too, so they're little kids.
Little kids swinging, gigapets and whatnot. You be like,
the same place that we used to be. Just like how you asked about being a freshman in college. You were always at the bottom once, and you kind of get to the top. You got to accept it. Some people look at freshmen or even look at 6th, 7th, 8th graders and oh, little kids, I don't want to listen to them, I don't want to hear what they have to say. But we were there once, and you understand it. Next year, we'll be the little kids. We'll be like, man, how do I get to class? College is so big. Someone will show us where it is.
Well, here's another thing I'm building on. Okay, you're looking around and saying, well, hey, how do I get by? Peer pressure. All right, now peer pressure, y'all know, no matter how much of an independent mind you got, there's a lot of people fall victim to peer pressure. And also I'll take from, young ladies and gentlemen back here on the 2nd row, feel free to toss your hand up and represent.
I don't think, it depends on the individual, because I've been peer pressured to do a lot of things, and I haven't fallen into them. Thank God.
Have you seen people that fall victim to peer pressure and can't get out?
I have, and it's sad because, you look at them, you're like, that's not the right thing to do, and it's not.
Do you feel that you can say anything to your peers? How many of y'all feel that you could say anything to your peers?
You can't guarantee that you'll be heard.
You can't feel intimidated by your peers.
Right.
It depends who you're with and how comfortable you feel talking to them about a certain subject. I feel like to say what I feel with my friends without having them take it personally. But there are certain people that I can't say certain things to because they'll take it the wrong way, and then a big argument or a big fight will occur.
Well, let me tell you, young people don't think that peer pressure is just a young thing. Older people fall victim to peer pressure every day. You ever heard of Keeping Up with the Joneses? Well, Keeping Up with the Joneses is a neighbor couldn't be, it's a synonymous name for somebody next door, and somebody just tries to always outdo because the neighbor got something that they want to get to.
I have that going on right now. My mom and her neighbor, it's like
battling, right? Neck to neck.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, lady, you got something on my fence. Take that off. And it's just games that they play. And
parents always warn you about peer pressure. Watch yourself.
I think
it makes them stronger to see themselves not the way they want to be.
I mean, you're more willing to fall into peer pressure if you're pressured by someone you care about.
Yeah.
Because you're faced with a dilemma. It's like
Especially best friends.
Especially best friends or people who you really care about or you feel something for, or just anyone that you love. I mean, because if it was someone that you just don't care anything about and pressured you into doing something, you can easily dismiss it. But it's much harder when it's coming from someone like your best friend or your boyfriend.
Well, y'all know the word segue, right?
Yeah.
That segues perfectly into the next subject, sex. All right? You tie that in with peer pressure. Now everybody stepping back a little bit all right.
No cameras.
Pressure, mad pressure for young people today. Sex with everything out there. Do you feel there's enough education in the school to actually let y'all know, or do you feel that hey, you know enough? Uh-oh, we're gonna have to do this one-on-one. Let's start back there. Put your hands up.
They don't keep it enough.
You know what? I think there is. I think there is, but students aren't willing to listen. They're just worried about, you know, there's so much coming from everywhere. You know, sex, protect yourself, use a condom, use this, use that, and students follow that, but they're like more into the feeling. You know, I'm not gonna get pregnant. I'm not gonna go do this. You know, but yet they fall into it. Drugs also. I mean, I got peer pressured by a friend to do drugs, and it hurt me because I was like, you know, that's bad. Why are you trying to put me down and bring me down into doing this? And it was like, you know, I'm not going to do that. Sorry. And there's a lot of peer pressure, but it depends on how you handle it and how you go about it. Because if you fall into it, then...
Oh, what's the condition of the school? What do they tell you about sex? Young brother back there. We'll take y'all. We'll take the three brothers back there. 1, 2, and 3. I know he's like, yo, not me, kid, not me. Nah. You a 10th grader.
There's not enough in the school. They don't tell you enough. They're afraid.
They shelter
There's
your
a shortage, and all the adults and all the administrators and everyone tries to keep it so taboo, so quiet. Like, oh no, that's only for when you get written consent. They're so quiet about it. They're all,
you don't gotta keep it taboo.
I guess students are open with each other as opposed to teachers.
The way students are right now, the way I'm looking at it, is that the facts that they get, like from teachers, from health teachers, whenever they teach sex ed, what it is that they don't take the facts into consideration. They want to experience it themselves. Although people tell them, okay, it's this and that, they want to experience it themselves. That's why, so they can talk and tell people, okay, I did this and that. That's the way I feel.
It's also a shortage where you should learn it hands on hands. There's like a
But if people are getting it from school, I mean, they're getting that education from somewhere because it's everywhere. It's not only about school, and they're not giving you full information here because you're getting it from your parents, from your friends.
So teachers never mention the word sex. They never say the word sex.
They do, but it's sheltered. They have a limit to what they say.
It's so casual though. Like your teachers, they'll throw it into like a lesson, you know, and it'll just come up like a rise in like conversation that may not have anything to do with it. But sex and drugs and relationships and everything is so casual that like not only with parents but like with your peers and just with anyone at random. Like you go into a store and it could be like on a conversation or on commercials or radio. It's not the way it used to be before. Now it's just like every day, like, oh, I'm gonna go buy milk, I'm gonna go buy condom.
But it's
not for us personally, but just because it's been.
But there's a limit to what the school lets us know. I mean, we need to experience
the issue has been.
I guess it's always how strong your curiosity is. Because like me, you know, I'm curious. I'm really curious. But then when it comes to that extent, like sex, I'll be like, oh yeah, you know, you just stop. Wait a minute, you know, I'm not, you know, I'm not gonna go that far. But if you're really like, oh, forget it, I don't want to feel how, you know, well, how it feels and how it hurts or how good it is or something, you know? It all depends how strong you feel about it and how curious you are. And then after, like, you fall for it, you're like, well, damn, you know, it's not as good as I thought it was, or it's not as good as my friends said it was, you know?
Well, that ties into...
I think that teenagers know a lot about the issue of sex, either from their friends or from school, wherever they got it. I think they know about what they're not supposed to do and what they're supposed to do, and no matter how strong-willed you are, and no matter how much knowledge you think that you know, peer pressure will get to you no matter how strong-willed you are. In some cases, such as sex, you know, if you know that, like, let's say you set morals for yourself. Oh, I'm not going to have sex till I'm married. But, you know, when you're caught in low self-esteem or, you know, you're caught at a certain point in your life, people can change that away from you no matter how strong-willed that you were at one point. At that weak part in your life, your whole life was blown out of proportion already, and you have regrets later or something that you said, oh yeah, I knew this, I knew that, but you didn't listen, you didn't see that before. It's just at the moment that you're there. The moment that you're there, that you're confronted with it face to face, is what really should pull through. And people sometimes fall back, and their defenses go down.
That's human, right?
Yeah, it's like
I don't know. It's relative to
education in the school systems right here in America and Los Angeles is much more extensive. It's much more detailed than it is in other countries. Now, if that helps, you know, shrink the population explosion, or if that increases it more, I don't know. But in Los Angeles, you get more of an understanding in the LAUS system. You get more, okay, this is how you protect yourself, this is what you do, this is how, so after you get pregnant, how you can protect yourself emotionally, physically, and mentally. In America, there's much more. They talk sex more openly. And I think that helps the younger generation understand themselves more than it does, let's say, in a third world country where population is exploding because sex is like I said, a taboo. It's a forbidden fruit that you can't access until you're married.
All right, what does that figure into other things such as drugs? I mean,
I don't know.
Or just on a peer pressure thing, just as, you know, somebody just, you know, hitting cigarettes or trying cigarettes for the first time. You think that has something to do with being connected to curiosity?
The more information you're given, the more you know about a certain thing, the less likely you're to be curious about it, to want to experience it.
Young lady, you want to build on that? Yeah. Yeah. Well, what do you think? I mean, the influence of the peer pressure falling into the drugs. Do you know anybody affected by drugs? Is there enough commentary in school about the drugs? Are there dealers around that people know that they say, well, you know, they can't get a way around it, and who's got their back, you know, really? Is there fear?
Drugs need to be stronger to see the side effects of what's
where they
happening.
can get drugs from. I think everybody and anybody in the school knows at least one person they can get drugs from, or anything from. And that's just really sad. You know?
And they pass it around from friends to friends. All my friends sell drugs, and oh, tell your friends. And the next thing you know, 20 people know who you are, and then you just split it up. And you have like 5 people.
So say no to drugs doesn't work.
No. But no.
All right, now, if say no to drugs doesn't work, right? How many younger people ask older people that have been devastated by drugs? How many? And I know, you know, just like me and anybody else, we have even people in our own family. How many of us are really asking older people questions that are devastated by drugs and things like that? Let me start from you.
Programs at school, you know, like DARE or whatever. They don't really teach you anything, you know, this cold shoulder, that.
They make you curious.
You know?
Straight makes
you
you
ask
curious.
people that have been in the situation, and you actually learn more from them.
But everybody's blaming it on the school system, and the school system isn't giving enough information and this and that. You can't blame it on anybody, really, because it's you, the one who's making the decision to do drugs and to do this and to do that. So you can't really go and say it's the school system's fault because they didn't give us enough sex education, they didn't give us enough drug education. It's not the school system's fault. It's your fault. You fall into it, that's your fault.
It's not like how it is on TV. Like, you know, you watch a show and they're like, or in DARE or anything, they taught you that, you know, when you get to high school, all these people are gonna be like, ooh, you want this? You want these drugs? Ooh, it's so not like that. It's all your morals. It's all who you are. You know, if I wanted to, or if anyone wanted to, anyone can go get what they want. Basically, anyone in this classroom, if they wanted, could get any kind of drugs they wanted, could go and have sex if they choose. You know, we hear about it every day. We hear about.
Well, here's a case in point. Here's a case in point, right? Other high schools, in my years coming to Los Angeles and California, talking to high schools, a lot of young people said they were forced into gangs, and they say, you know, they had their, and you know, and this is what a lot of people think across the country. They say Los Angeles gangs. What do you say about that? All right, let's start from this corner, and then let's go here, and let's go one by one because this is a hot topic.
That all starts from like your family. If
Yeah.
you, I mean, come on. If you want to join a gang because you want to feel loved, it's because you don't get that love at home, and then that's like, like on your parents.
But that's looking at it wrong too. That's looking at it wrong too, because if you're looking for love and you look for it in a gang, I mean, a gang is not a place to look for love. That is, I really don't think that's a place to look.
So you think there's a whole bunch of media hype?
Yeah. Oh, you really do.
Every day out.
Like,
Never been
if you
hype
want to be in a
in
gang or something.
Media hype is like how they associate kids, like teens, with like gangs and violence and drugs and stuff. That's not all we are, you know. We could get an education as you know. We want to succeed in life. But you know, every time we see a show, it's always associated with drugs, gangs. And
what would you say?
And you know, it puts teens down. You know.
What would you say to companies that actually keep putting it out? What would what would you say to them?
They don't know.
They haven't experienced it firsthand. They just see like the majority and the bad part of everything. Everything has a bad part. That's all they're looking at. They're not looking at us students that are here who are working their butts off doing something educational. They just see the bad parts, all LA, just gangs, Bloods, and Crips. It's not even like that. It's far from it from what I see. It's all who you hang around and how you're approached. I mean, think about it. You don't see none of us
been out of high
producing
school
young
for
things.
30 years and they don't even know what it's like, and they're just assuming from what they see maybe once in a while in a bad neighborhood.
But sometimes that sometimes people do fall into it, because I have a friend. I mean, he's so smart. He was like, I used to copy off of his papers. I'd be like, oh, what are you doing, right? And he was really smart until he got into gangs, into drugs, and now I see him on the street, and he doesn't go to school anymore. It's really sad to see that you know, it has such a big influence on people.
It all goes back to the problem of peer pressure.
Right. Confronted to it.
I don't think it has to do with peer pressure. Peer pressure is what they use as an excuse for saying, oh, well, I did it because of peer pressure. Like when you're doing something and you say it's because your friends like introduce it to you, in the back of your mind, you know whether it's right or wrong. You know.
It's up on the individual.
When you do drugs or when you go out and you have sex or whatever, when you're doing it, it's because you wanted to from the inside. I mean, you may not admit it, but subconsciously you're saying, well, I want to try this. I want to do this. That's why I'm going to do it. And then after you go, oh, well, my friends said, you know, they pushed me into it. They told me it was this. They told me. It's
not up to you, because every day you have your own mind. Every day you should like think. Every day I wake up and I thank God that I'm not doing drugs, and that's what keeps me going. There's certain things I don't have a perfect life, but there's certain things that I look forward to every day. You know, I thank God that I'm not doing drugs, and that's what keeps me going and keep me away from those things. It's to think the things that I have, so I don't lead up to those things. I look at my parents, I look at families and other things, and that's what keeps me going from not being like that. You say, I don't want to see myself like you keep saying that in your mind every day. And that every day I wake up and I say those things to myself so I don't fall into those things.
What happened? The biggest problem is that there is no communication in families anymore.
No.
I mean, me and my mom, we're like, my mom's my best friend. No one can top my mother. And we have perfect communication. She knows everything there is to know about me. Well, not everything, but pretty much everything. And like some of my friends, the friends that are pregnant, the friends that are on drugs, the friends that are in gangs, they have no communication with their parents, and they'll usually go to my mother. And it's like, you know, oh, your mom's so cool, you know, they let you go out, and I'm like, yeah, but she trusts me, and I communicate with her. She knows where I'm going to be at. She knows what time, when, who.
Communication goes both ways, right?
Communication. And if that doesn't exist, then, you know, that's how students get involved into other problems. Not so much the peer pressure, it is communication in the family. If it doesn't exist, then you're lost.
You think teaching goes both ways?
Teaching goes both ways.
You know, a teacher can learn every year?
Yeah.
We learn all the time. We learn something from each other every day. All of us are learning something from each other right now. And we may not know it, but I might say something that can affect him. Someone can, every day we're learning something. If you go out speaking and doing things, we learn something from each other every day. It could be a word or something, but it affects us in a way we might not know. And then from years now, we say, oh, I remember Blaze saying what's this and what's that. You know, it affects us in no matter everything that we do, it affects us in some kind of way.
One thing one thing I've definitely seen in high schools over the last 5 years and speaking to them, and especially having the opportunity to cover, you know, and do reports like this and cover the mindset of the people themselves, is that when I went to high school, we had things like assembly programs. At least once a month, somebody would be a guest speaker, or even an artist or a performing group or a boy would come to school and do reinforcement every month. Right, Walt? Yeah. And Walt's from Chicago, I'm from New York, and it would just be mandatory, and then, you know, that person, even though if they was in 2 or 3 areas, then it was career day, people would speak and tell you about their profession. Does that happen today? And everywhere I ask, it's like people are afraid to get young.
I think in elementary that happens a lot, like in my brother's schools and stuff. People go in, they bring their parents in, and they talk, and I've seen it, you know, but
As high school students.
As high school students, they kind of, I guess they kind of figure, you know, well,
it's too late already.
Yeah,
they can't prevent what's already happened, and I feel maybe in junior high school they feel they're so young that they can, in a way, form their thoughts and opinions, as opposed to high school they already have their ways and don't bother.
Oh, and junior high schools around America, I'm telling you right now, a lot of people's like, that's the biggest stress out zone. They're like, I don't know what to do. As long as we don't have to bring them all together, because we can't control them all.
I think administrators are also scared because so many like celebrities and big people are like doing wrong things now that they're afraid of it'll influence us. They don't realize that we have our own opinions and we can deal with stuff like that. That's why they're so tight.
Yeah, and also,
All right, next question, right? When y'all go to the malls, right? I mean, do you go? When y'all go to the malls, right? And you might say something like, yeah, you know, I go to Marshall. I mean, that whole is the whole high school rivalry play into whatever when you talk to someone.
it's usually just between two schools. Like our competition is Belmont. It's
Okay.
like,
But nobody really
Belmont
does
beats us
anything
and
about
like,
it.
we're all like, oh man.
It's only in football.
It's a game.
It's nothing. It's maybe once in a while we'll come to school, you know, and they'll write Belmont on the wall or something, but nothing really happens.
Competition, you know, just to get people, you know, revved up, you know, like school spirit
Yeah.
and things like that.
Yeah,
It's not.
pretty
It's
much school
more of
spirit.
an innocent type thing unless people take it to extremes. But it's more of a like a little, you know, like you prep yourself up, you know, like oh yeah, you know, Marshall school pride.
Self-esteem.
But then that's not even happen anymore. Like,
because one school will try to outdo the other school in like sports or like in the debates.
Yeah.
And that can be healthy.
We have
And
the
it helps
debates
yourself.
now.
but that happens on
Is it-
TV, but it doesn't happen in real life. Like at this school, there's no other school that where it's like, oh, we really gotta be. Oh, people care about football
Yeah,
games.
we
That's
don't
about
have
it.
no
But you know,
rumbles
it's
or
not like in '80s movies where everyone's like really caring, stealing the school mascot. You know how much I want that? You know how much I want to go like get a mascot and be like, oh, there's Marshall. It doesn't happen. People don't have school pride like that. We got Jack. We need that kind of stuff. Oh, we don't.
We
had the
play
weakest
against Belmont. We play for a bell, except that we never win.
All right. Do you think it's just too much emphasis on sports, or do you think that?
In general, there's not enough.
There's not enough school pride and
It's just
unity.
like sports, always sports, between Belmont and Marshall. Who wins the bell, who doesn't, like that.
Now, what do you think? Do you think there's a pattern in today's schools and today's youth of not trying to be the smartest in class?
Yeah. Trying to be the top. I mean, school unity.
Yeah,
Don't nobody wants to be the nerd anymore.
no.
The richest man in the world is Bill Gates,
Bill Gates.
right? Now, why do you think it's that? Why do you think that somebody in class doesn't want to be the smartest kid in the class or raise their hand the most?
Because everybody's worrying about how, you know, how cool they look amongst others and how many friends they
So that's not cool, right? Being smart's not cool?
It all depends because, you know, back then everybody was like, the nerds were always thinking, well, you know, I'm going to be your boss and you're going to be living up to me. Now it's not even like that. Now it's like, well, if I get a job, I get a job. If I don't, oh well, you know, I just live with my mom.
People say
People
say that image is nothing.
Yeah, it
but
could. It,
I think
so
everybody
wrong.
in class does want to be a nerd because everybody's going for that good grade. You know, I need to get that A in chemistry. I need to get that A. I don't want to fail. I don't want to fail. You know, I mean, I think they're saying, you know, no, I don't want to be the nerd, but everybody's really going for that because you don't want to be left behind. You don't want to be, you know.
And it's not some
say
people
that
just like
image is
try not to go
nothing,
for it, but they really are.
People that say that is exactly the people who have that image. I mean,
But there's people.
Sprite.
There's
We live in a society where there's a lot of competition to be the best, because only the best, like they said, the best survive. You have to be. It's very competitive in grades and schoolwork and how many extracurricular activities you have, how good you do in all your areas of life. And it goes beyond school. It goes into your workplace. We live in a society that competition is everything.
How many of y'all on the internet? I mean,
everybody.
everybody. Chat rooms and the whole 9, web pages. What do you prefer, computers or books, or they can't be compared?
You cannot get the same thing out of a
They're
computer
so
as you get in a
different.
book.
You can't enter a book.
You can't. You cannot get the same. But you cannot get the same thing out of a computer from a book. I'm a writer, well, trying to be. And you cannot, I mean, for me, I'm reading the Men in Black book right now. Even though I've seen the movie, I still want to read it. You don't get the same thing. You don't feel.
Men in Black book?
Yeah.
Oh, the script?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, even though I've seen the movie, I want to read it because your mind, you set the picture of your own.
You ain't trying to see the alien dance in the book,
I mean,
right?
yeah, you see, I mean, when you read a book, for me, like the whole world is like, boom. You know, everything I see, the characters, the way they look, the way they talk, and that's much better for the mind. It makes yourself better.
This is your imagination, your capacity to hold information in there. Reading, I prefer reading a book than watching TV.
They're so different.
It's you get your own movie inside your head.
Yeah.
You know, it's
like,
not
no, but it changes because when you see the book, I mean, when you read the book and you see the movie, you're like, wait a minute, this didn't happen in the movie.
Because it's yourself
Right,
making the book
it's
up.
completely different.
It's like you're making the book of yourself.
Oh yeah, here especially. I was ready. I was ready I was ready. See, you was right on point. No, this is not time to go. This is the next question. Clothes. Do you believe high schools should have dress codes?
No.
Why?
Well, there's no point. Everybody has.
Because let me give you some prep from D.C. and Chicago. D.C. and Chicago, the reason that they've gotten into sticking people up for clothes, like in Philadelphia, had more murders last year on Tommy Hilfiger jackets. So they said if they dress everybody the same, even though some people want to like tilt their, to try to style their uniforms, they said it's a worthwhile move for Philadelphia and also in D.C. and things like that. What do you say?
It depends on what school you go to, because here we can wear Tommy Hilfiger. Nobody's going to go out to wear a jacket. Administrators have to make it seem. They blow it out of proportion.
They almost give us a reason to debate.
Now I'm looking at 11 things. No gloves, permitted when weather 45. Wait. Let me read. Let me read this. Let me read this. Look. No gloves permitted when weather 45 degrees or less.
That's the when 45 degrees.
Okay. When is it 45?
Why can't we wear?
But then again, why would somebody wear gloves for over 50 degrees?
I don't even know what that.
I mean, all right, no hats other than the Marshall cap.
Mostly everything on that code is always, they always say it's gang related.
Yeah, if everyone dresses, they say if everyone dresses the same, then you.
No oversized black Parkers, starter jackets, with or without team markings.
We can't wear nothing like that. We want to represent, but see, how
what do
we
you
supposed to
think
learn?
about it? Can we ask you what you think about it? What do you think about our dress code here at Marshall?
Well, I think number one, being fearful without the facts is always dangerous. For example, thinking that they're gang related and looking at a whole bunch of videos and stuff and thinking that kids are going to just jump off into different gang zones is ignorant. But I do believe, like in certain cities where they actually, where a kid comes in, their parent might have money, and somebody's parent doesn't have money and wants that clothes, and they get stuck up and maybe shot or killed or beat up for it, they have to really come up with some rules. But I think, like you said, it goes high school to high school.
Yeah,
this kind of looks like, all right, here you go. Halter tops, low-cut blouses, midriffs, any apparel that fails to cover the torso. I mean, really Little Kim outfits. So, I mean, what do you say about that?
We can't even wear, about cutoff shorts.
I mean, because look, you sit in class, all right, but you sit in class, right? I'm going back to your 10th grade, right? Somebody's dressed like Lil' Kim and somebody's in 10th grade and watching and looking at algebra or something, right? And homegirl in the next row is dressed like, Foxy Brown. How much algebra is he checking out? Now, I know when I was in high school, I was really victim. I was in high school, I was a victim. It didn't matter what they was wearing. My mind just drifted and wandered anyway.
Now
He's doing geometry, checking out.
That was my fault. I agree. It was my fault.
We can be all covered up. Like, I can have a turtleneck on that's a little tight, showing, a little bit of this, and they'll still be looking. I mean,
But you think that halter tops and low-cut blouses make them look more?
Guys, but what about that rule on there that we can't wear cut-off shorts? What is wrong with cut-off?
Pants must be proper proportion. That means they can't be baggy, right? Proper length and no slit at the cuffs. Pants must stay up without the aid of a belt.
I think what they want to do is
this is that they're afraid that people might be in gangs. But I don't understand. Starter is a company, and then they just say.
UCLA.
So what do the teachers wear? That's like. Do you think it's? Do you think it's like teachers don't wear Sears suits?
I've seen some of the administrators wear USC and UCLA.
Yeah, some
universities that they wear. They say that we can't wear that.
If it's gonna be applied to the students, it should also be applied to the teachers.
And then always I'm over adults and you're not. But that does not matter.
In Roosevelt High School right now, there's a uniform going on, and the teachers have to wear the uniform just like the students. And I think that's fair. If I have to comply with the dress code, so should the administrators.
And they don't practice what they preach. That's the whole thing.
If they're going to say something hypocritical of them to defy their own dress code that they made up themselves, If they say no pagers on campus, okay,
Why do
no
they ban
pagers,
too?
everybody, not, you know, it's like you see teachers, administrators having their pagers out there, and there's like,
Teachers will be teaching and you go beep beep beep.
What you say, Walt?
Why does a high school kid need a pager?
Mom.
Yeah, what happened if there's a family emergency?
How many family emergencies per day?
I get like
17.
I get 2 4.
I get email all day.
I don't get home until 7 o'clock at night. I
Right.
get to school until like 6,
Yeah.
7 o'clock.
What am I supposed to do with the pager in the meantime?
But your friends know
Do you think a lot of kids just got the pager because it's stylish? I mean, I got the pager because it's work.
your friends know you in school. Most of the time, they're not gonna be paging you while you in school.
You sure?
Most of the time, unless it's your man or your woman or something like that, you know, that's a different story. But what good is? Teachers.
All right, now, teachers. Going back to teachers. I mean, do you think teachers are sensitive to how students think? Because I remember I seen a teacher. I had this teacher. He wore the same thing every day, and we was killing him. I'm sorry. We had jokes for days. We was killing him every day. Now, you think teachers are really sensitive, or they just can't block out? Say, well, you know, that's just young people. They're gonna get jokes.
Depends on what kind of an insult and on the extreme of that insult, but
Now, you know, sometimes classrooms could be relentless.
it is very, sometimes I think it's very offensive to insult someone, not just because they're a teacher, but because they're some human being. You shouldn't insult someone. It's like, how would you feel if you were to be insulted in the same manner? You wouldn't feel good.
But it depends on what level you come in. Like, we in here joking. No one's like gonna get really offended. I mean, it all depends on who's doing it and what's said.
Yeah.
I mean, it should like, would you cut
You can't
out?
take everything seriously, you know.
I looked at these rules, right? I looked at half, really 10, 11, you know, I mean, it's like basically no gang, which also is like almost like no rap. You know, whatever you see in a rap video, don't even think about it in school. What do you think about rap, hip hop?
Mostly
They say, well, you know, they might say, you know, first of all, what do you think about, you know, like a whole bunch of old people was saying, oh man, East Coast, West Coast, and they were buying into that, and they was like, all rap music, it must see some, no, you know, Bone Thugs Harmony, none of that, because we just want our kids to think straight.
Yeah, but
you think that
generation was then, and like we have lyrics now, we have our own.
You think rap could be used to teach in schools?
Yeah, most definitely.
Everybody listens to rap.
It has a good beat. Rap
There were teachers rapping out,
some
but you know I
rap
won't pay
it's just
attention.
like bad word after bad word, and they're just cussing each other out. East Coast, West Coast, they're cussing each other out. It depends on how you pick your sounds. If you pick a very good rap song, it's like and that really spreads a message. Students will like that.
Everybody has their own personal opinion as far as music is concerned.
It is always this.
And if each person could be taught with the music that they like, then we would have the best educational system in this country, or in this world. I mean, but that's impossible.
What do you think about when you heard Tupac and Biggie actually, you know, getting killed and dying?
That's when they took like gang, like between the West Coast and East Coast.
They take small incidents and make them bigger than what they are. They take something that's small, not really small, but like blow it up real big over like, you know, every time, like for the dress code, we had like someone get shot like here like 2 years ago. Every time they talk about the dress code, they always refer back to that. When they talk about something about gangs, they always refer back to Big and Tupac. I mean, they only look on certain small things. They don't look, you know, everything. They blow up.
All that was ignorance.
I know.
Yeah. Their death was just caused by plain ignorance.
They were so worried about making money, and I want to do this, and I want to do that, that they didn't even really think about it because I mean,
really, it was just like
it's like I want to make more money than you, so your music's bad, my music's good. Everybody got to listen to this.
It wasn't serious. It really was. What it was just a little like personal vendetta between like Biggie and Tupac. You know, it was just them two. But the thing just blew up and made it just like international, West Coast, East Coast. That's when it blew up.
Did it make young people just say, well, look, I got calmed down because that's kind of crazy?
Actually, but most people don't really care. Like, you see that on TV and stuff like that. But you know, like, you go outside, you see whatever, like, normal people listen to the radio, and even, like, the big radio station here, Power 106, whatever, they're gonna play, they still, like, they'll play Biggie, and then they'll play a Tupac song right after. And then, like, they'll even play, like East Coast up, West Coast up. No one really cares about that. It's a media thing. It was, like, a kind of like a Yo MTV Raps thing, like for like a day, but no one really cares.
Yeah,
you know? It doesn't even exist.
Dropping the subject, they keep making it worse.
Look at how stupid it was. Having war for what? words. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, here's another. Has anybody known anybody personally, friends that have died or gotten killed? Or go ahead, explain. Put your hand in the air and explain that
Just
sentiment.
recently, my friend died near around here. His name was Juan Velasquez, and he got shot just because of gangs, you know. And it was like real tragic for me because he was my best friend. And you know, it was a stupid thing. All he was doing was just walking home from McDonald's, and he was just going down the street, and next thing you know, he just gets shot because all he was wearing was one shirt, Dodgers, and he got shot just because of that, because they had just different colors.
That's how
it was just kind of stupid, you know.
That's how they
never
justify
did me wrong.
I had a friend whose brother was in a gang, and he was walking with his brother, and some rival gang passed by, shot them both. The brother died, and he survived, and since then, it's like his whole life changed around, because he was following his brother's footsteps. He realized if he did the same thing his brother did, he'd be ending up like him. So there's a positive part to that, but still, it's like, it's
Did
a
it have to
positive
be
out of a
that?
negative.
It shouldn't have to take a lesson like that.
Just silver lining in a cloud.
Something bad had to happen for somebody to look twice and say,
There should be
oh,
a
wait a
like
minute,
that.
that's not
You
the
should
way
be
to
aware.
go. That's not right. Yeah, I mean, it's sad, you know, that people don't look at things before they step into it. They first have to like be in there and experience it, and then say, you know what, that was wrong. And it's such a waste of time.
Sometimes
It's
it's
like,
too late.
you
But
could
in
have
a way, it's better than
been
like
at the bigger picture. Why are we fighting over music? Just words.
Well, here's a final question, and I really appreciate y'all, Marshall, because y'all representing California, all the California schools in this report, because you're broad-minded and well-versed in all. Next schools, I think Atlanta and New York.
Yeah.
Back around the way. I happen to live in both cities. What's the message y'all want to kick back east to the schools in Atlanta and New York about California schools, and what do you want them to believe?
They just want to stop the violence and increase the peace.
That we don't have anything against them or their rap music.
Yeah. It's just one love.
It's not the
That's it.
stereotypes, you know, like people from the valley driving the convertible or Beverly Hills going down in the BMW. No, we're regular people. We live in a regular country.
Chilling.
Yeah, and we live in the state chilling.
Take a look at us. Just look at us. I mean,
LA.
you have so many different cultures here, so many different kinds of people, and especially in this class, I mean, to see that there's so many different kinds of people, and we can all get together and do a show. I mean, that is just like, we all unite, and we don't have things, we have differences, but we can overcome that and say, you know what, you're like that, that's your belief, this is mine,
You just
respect
overlook
them,
that.
and we can be friends.
You overlook
And
that.
the main thing,
I think that's what East Coast, West Coast ought to do. You know, like become
Overlook
like
all the
one.
problems.
You know, learn more about each other. And then you'll understand all about different cultures and be able to like
It makes you a more well-rounded person and
And if
improves
we,
you.
as a young generation, can overcome our differences, our differing opinions, then that means that everyone can overcome it. If we can do it, then why can't anyone else?
You should also do it
The more
not just
we
for
learn-
yourself.
The more we learn about each other, and the more we learn just about everybody in the world, the better we're going to get along, and the better our future's going to be.
So,
The main thing is communicate, not only with your family, communicate with your peers, your teachers, everyone. If you don't have communication, you have that.
so the next school I go to, I say, yo, what's up, y'all? Marshall said peace, right? And that worked just like.
All you gotta say is that, you know, we're all teenagers, we're all trying to get ahead, we're all at the same place right now. We're all, you know, like in the same position. And all we have to say to those people is like, what's up?
Right.
Do the best you can, achieve what you can, because you only got one life to live, that's all.
You should live your
Don't
life
let
as a
anything
sponge
get
and
you down.
absorb
The
everything.
main thing. Don't let anyone get you down. If you have your goals straight, keep them. Don't let anything pull you down.
All right, I'm gonna close this one out. Adam, I'm gonna close this one out. I'm gonna say, yeah, this is Chuck D on the Real. That's right, Fox News Channel, right here at John Marshall High School. Just saying peace out. Counting through, y'all say peace. 1, 2, 3, peace. Peace. Represent. Yo, thank y'all once again. All right. Matter of fact, what we're going to try to do is just make this a constant, going around and doing this. Y'all have a good class of '98. Good senior year. A great junior year. Huh? We're going to see this? Oh, yeah, of course. We're going to see this. When we going to see this, Walt? When we going to see this?
Popular?
Are you getting individual copies?
2 weeks from today.
What channel?
Fox News channel.
Was there a copy of it?
Just talk to.
Lunch for everybody.
Pizza's on me. Yeah, copy of it. Well, Gary, since this is the media center right here, I mean, you could send a copy of it right to the media center. Y'all can check out the final cut.
Hi, I'm the chief of the Blue Tide.
Pleasure. Nice meeting you. Thanks a lot for being part of it. Thanks a lot. Thank you. All right, pleasure.
Chuck, thank you.
No, thank you, Gary. I learned a lot too.
Chuck, I'm gonna have this guy Greg right here. Keep rolling. Keep rolling. He's gonna give you the breakdown on this whole studio about what's going on.
What's up, man? How you? So you gonna give me the breakdown, right?